Hello, folks. This is Paramjeet Singh from Passing Cloud series of conversations. So, today's video is not a descriptive video, but more like a question to all the folks who work in the area of leadership development. And one of the things I keep on hearing and a conversation about is the idea of authenticity. That authenticity is essential trait for any good leader. But it does pose a couple of questions. Do we presuppose or do we assume that authenticity itself is a good thing? And if so, what exactly an authenticity is? Does it mean that there's no dissonance in the individual about the person who she or he is and the role he or she plays? Or does it mean something else? Because the conversation doesn't seem to be very clear about what constitute authenticity. Because if you talk about authenticity from the standpoint of intellectual conceptual framework, it is different than if you start talking about authenticity from a deeper metacognitive spiritual perspective. So, which one is correct? The one you see and talk about from the textbooks, or the one you see and talk about in the context of the individuals and real lived life? So, my question to you today, to the folks who work in the coaching environment and the individuals who tend to invoke authenticity as a essential trait for leadership or good leadership, is that how do we define wholesome authenticity? What if we are just simply talking about something, a conceptual framework which sounds good on the paper but may not be that good in a really lived life? What if authenticity we talk about is simply a collection of traits which may not be that meaningful? What if the dissonance, as exhibited by leaders in their leadership responsibilities, is not what authenticity is all about? Anyhow, today my question to you folks is that how do we define authenticity? And can we have a conversation about it without assuming that authenticity is a good thing to begin with? Because whenever we throw these words like authenticity, knowing yourself, find your purpose, all these sounds great on paper, but they may have a darker side which we don't tend to explore. Because just because something sounds good on the paper doesn't mean that it is going to be good in a really lived life. So, my question to you folks, the one I want to leave with you, so how do we appropriately define authenticity so that we don't sell or propose things in a way which may do a lot more harm in the long scheme of things than they do good? As a coach or as a mentor, it is our responsibility to be responsible for the content and the conceptual framework we bring to the table and not suckered in on the perceived value or intellectual value of such conceptual frameworks. If you work in this domain and you would like to have a conversation and develop a sense of clarity about what authenticity is all about, or is there any difference between authenticity that is approached from the standpoint of intellectual, cognitive perspective and more deeper metacognitive spiritual perspective, I would love to have a conversation with you. If if you have an idea about this, which you have practiced and has worked very well and has brought your individuals into a different space of thinking, I would love to hear that. Or if you have an idea which is opposite to what I am proposing here, I would love to hear that too, because opposite ideas invite us to be curious about the things we think are a good way to think about, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is not a collection of demands which are proposed and imposed upon other people. Leadership is a continuous journey of being curious about the things we know, and even more so for the things we don't know. So that's it for today. This was a sort of a question to you folks. And if you would like to explore this more with me, I would love to have a conversation with you. Until next time, continue to stay curious and reasonably non judgmental. Thank you very much for stopping by. I look forward to talk to you again next time. Bye bye for now.
Please subscribe to the channel, like and share. Thank you.